It's almost August, so I thought we'd better do a July garden tour. So this is what the garden's looking like. You can see we haven't harvested the garlic yet, and for the first time ever, I see garlic rust. So I'm getting kind of nervous. So far it's just this middle section right here. The garlic over there is fine. It's definitely because we had like 30 days of rain, and then I don't know if you're in the Maritimes, you probably know this, but last weekend we ended up getting some areas like 260 millimeters in one day. So there was major flooding. I have a little clip that I'll insert of me checking the rain gauge.
Hey, where'd your ball go?
Fair to say we had a rainstorm.
Are you doing a video?
So we definitely have some moisture issues this year. So I'm hoping, like I rotate my garlic every year, and I'm hoping next year this won't be an issue. I'm anxious to get it out though, and normally I would leave it for another week or two. I don't know, like there's only 1 or 2 dried leaves at the bottom. I typically like to see about 4. I like about 4 green leaves left, but I don't know if I'm gonna take that chance. We're playing that by ear. So moving on. Lots of sweet peas blooming. I just picked them clean the other day and gave my mom a big bunch. The cucamelons are starting to take off. There's some, I did see some blossoms starting. There's a couple right there. These are butterfly peas. They're not really doing much. Everything is shaded quite a lot by the garlic right now, so I'm hoping once the garlic gets harvested, these things will have a chance to take off. That was my very last loofah that was kind of hanging on. I think it's definitely a goner. So again, we have no loofahs, but you know, that's how she rolls here. Over here we've got these are those elephant beans or gigantes beans. I'm super curious to see how those go this year. I've never grown them. They look pretty interesting. Some more sweet peas. This is probably one of my very favorites. This is Prince of Orange. It's gorgeous. I love it. We've had a harvest of the broad beans. Those were interesting. I thought they were good. We put them in a salad. Jarrett wasn't the biggest fan, but I think I want to try them in a stir fry. There's a few here that could be harvested again. When they kind of like, this one got attacked by aphids, but when they start off kind of pointing quite vertically, and when they kind of fall over and get shiny, that's when you harvest. These ones over here looked quite a bit better. See, they're quite shiny, and the pods are quite large. Like those are huge, so those are definitely ready to harvest. We have some, these are not sunset runner beans, these are sunrise runner beans, and I just really like the color of them. These will mostly just be for show in the garden, but I quite like them. Our snow peas are doing absolutely fantastic. I had to tie them over with a string so that I can reach and actually harvest them. They were going straight up above the trellis, and I couldn't reach them. We've got a languishing zucchini plant here, a kohlrabi that's starting to bulb up. These are some broccoli plants. This is an overwintered rudbeckia. I just love this one. Isn't it gorgeous? So pretty. These are the onions, the Rosa di Milano that I'm trying to save seed from this year. Over here we've got some cabbage, some Brussels sprouts. There's nothing at the back here yet, but I did put up a trellis. I'm going to put another succession of peas there, I think. Try to get another succession. And when I ripped out the ranunculus, I put some dahlias in here. Not the best dahlia year, but we'll talk about that in a dahlia video. So, tomatoes looking pretty good. They're starting to put on tomatoes. They're behind. Like, I was looking at photos from last year, and we had, this is an early girl, I believe, and we had a ripe Scotia tomato like days away from today this time last year. And as you can see, these are nowhere near ripe, but that's okay. They're coming along. I know we'll have lots of tomatoes. We have eaten some cherry tomatoes. The bottom few trusses here, we've eaten the whole entire bottom one. This is the next truss up. We also have some on the deck in the green stalk, the micro dwarfs. There's tons of trusses on this tomato, and it's still blooming. So this is Jarrett's favorite, so he'll get lots of eating off of that. This is my first time growing sprouting broccoli, and we have had like, it puts on these little mini sprouts instead of one giant head. So we've had a couple off of each plant. I really like the idea of this because then you get kind of like a continuous harvest throughout the season, not just one giant harvest. But I don't think 4 plants was enough, and I kind of squeezed them in here. They're getting a little shaded out by this tomato. But I think next year I will plant more because I much prefer this to large heads that you have to deal with all at once. We've got some dry beans back there. They're just getting to the blooming stage. I did have one variety fail completely on me, so that's unfortunate, but we should have lots, and there's more at the community garden. And we've got some cute stuff going on in the garden too. This is asparagus ferns I got last year, and then there are a couple over here that were new this year, so they're just itty bitty, but I think this will end up being a second asparagus bed. And there's Lola nosing around like normal. She likes to jump up on that bench sometimes, but. And then this is the asparagus bed. Everything is nice and huge. As soon as I dig out some of that garlic, I'm gonna start transferring strawberry plants. I think I want this. I don't think I want them mixed together anymore. It's too hard to get in at the strawberries, and I want to make sure that the asparagus stays nice and deep, so I want to top these beds off, and that's impossible to do when the strawberries are in there. They don't like their crowns buried. So the strawberries are getting vamoosed from this bed. Now this is a bit of a disaster because of that rainstorm that we had. It downed a lot of my delphiniums and some yarrow and some daisies, but that's okay. I'm gonna cut these delphiniums way back, and there's actually some celery in here that's struggling. So once I cut these back, the celery should get some more sunshine, and hopefully we'll start putting on some growth. Over here, I did dig out, I did have some garlic in here, and I had one elephant garlic that was not looking great. It did develop cloves. They're very small. They don't look anything like an elephant garlic, but it is what it is. So I'll replant those this year, and hopefully they'll have a better job. This was a, well, it still is. It kind of gets eaten back every year like this by the earwigs. It was a lovage plant. My comfrey I did cut back when it bloomed, so it's got a fresh flush of growth. And I did the same with the chives. I cut them right back to the ground. This is all new growth. Again, I'm trying to keep ahead of that leek moth. And our house cap, he needs transferred over there, but we'll get there. This is the German white garlic. It's hanging in. It's not as large as I would like to see. I have picked a few cloves just to kind of check the progress. But again, we're dealing with the leek moth this year, the unusual weather, which is too bad because in the spring it looked really good, like it was going to be the best year ever. But I'm hopeful there's still some big bulbs in there, and in the next week or two I'll be sure and make a video about the garlic when I harvest it, and we'll see what's going on with it. All right, this was where I had all of my Egyptian walking onions. I ripped those out. I saved a couple of bulbils, which I will replant in the fall, and the rest are in the burn pile. I'm trying to limit any areas where the leek moth might hide out. This side was the daffodils. I'm gonna cut those back soon and give it a good weeding, and that'll be it for that side of the bed this year. Over here, this was where I had those lavender plants that were kind of suffering. So I ripped those out and put some dahlias in here as well, along with, I had some onions planted here that you can just see, like the earwigs. They just start demolishing everything this year. But again, I ripped those onions out. I didn't want the leek moth to take up residence. This rose bush is doing amazing. I've talked about this lots of times. You can see all the new growth. All that bright green is just brand new growth, and I think next year it's going to be absolutely stunning. This bed looks to be a bit of a mess, but I'm just waiting for the seed pods to dry out. This is what they look like when kale goes to seed. And when these dry out, there will be a ton of little round dark seeds on the inside. So like one plant can give you a lot of seed, but this is a ton. So we'll be able to use this for our own sprouting seed if we want over the winter, which will be awesome. Some of the sprouting seeds can be quite expensive. So there's also a little cherry tomato and a husk cherry there. But once I rip these out, we will put some fall crops here. I do have a few things started, like some lettuce, some cabbage, some more broccoli, things like that. And I'll also be able to direct some more baby kale like we did last year, which is how this stuff started, as well as spinach and things like that. So definitely an odd year. If this is your first gardening year and you're in like the Northeast, I highly encourage you to not give up after this year. This is weather unlike I've experienced since I've been gardening, and it's been a rough year. So, I mean, there's still lots of successes. We'll still have, tons of food. I'm not worried about it. The community garden, I'll do that in a separate video, but it's growing well. Basically the only thing there that's not doing well, the potatoes got attacked pretty majorly by potato bug, and our turnips kind of failed the first time. The second time they kind of have gotten eaten. So we probably won't have turnips, but that's fine. We'll have lots of carrots and beans. We will still have lots of potatoes. There's a ton of tomatoes, a ton of peppers. So I'm not that worried about it. We'll have tons to play with in the fall. One thing I did forget to show you, they're kind of suffering right now, but I have my shelling peas here at the front of the tomato bed, and that's what I'm going to replant over there on that other trellis. All right, I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize my phone died on me. So That was the end of the home garden tour, but I did actually find a video from last week that I took of the community garden, so I will go ahead and show that to you right now as well. All right, I haven't been here in about a week and a half, and everything is looking good with one exception, which we'll get to in a second, but beans, onions, peppers, an eggplant, some Inca berries, all the squash, the carrots, some peas. These are reseeded turnips. They didn't come up the first time. These are our dry beans. We have more peppers. A little section of onions. You can see I need to do some major weeding. I did a little bit today, but it's getting hot now. These are all the tomatoes. They have totally recovered from that excess moisture, so that's good. I started weeding at the back, was working my way towards the front. I only got about a quarter of it done. I did weed the peanuts because I'm super excited about those. They're looking good. They're not getting much bigger, but they're nice and healthy looking. These are the cabbages and broccoli. There's a few, or cauliflower and broccoli. There's a few cabbages at the end of the rows. There's more peppers. Squash is all doing good. Now, the thing that is not doing great is the potatoes. We had some major potato bug issues. Someone was kind enough to spread some DE on the plants for me. I'm not sure when, and I just dosed them with a whole bunch more and picked every bug that I could see. But that's what happens when you're not here like every day. Some of these things get away from you. So I think some of the plants will be okay. I'm sure some of them we've lost, but we planted a lot more than last year, so if we get like 50 pounds, that'll be awesome. Everything else doing really good. So I can't really complain. I see some cabbage moths and stuff, so there's not a whole lot of damage on these yet. There was some flea beetles. I saw one or two today, but not too many. So the next time I come, I'll make sure and bring some BT to spray so that if the little caterpillars hatch, they'll be taken care of pretty swiftly. So I'm gonna shoo that cabbage moth away and then head home. 2 little paprika peppers were ready. These are our first peppers this year. Lots coming on the plants, but these are the first ripe. So that's where the gardens are at in late July in Nova Scotia. I would love to hear in the comments below how your gardens are doing. I hope they're doing well, and we will see you for another garden tour in August, but other stuff before then, so come back.